Hi, I'm Bowen Spottswood, a staff clinician in the Manhattan office. Today I'm introducing the dialectical behavioral therapy skill of radical acceptance as a first step in overcoming an obstacle. Before we begin, what's radical acceptance in the first place? It's complete and total openness to the facts of reality as they are, without responding with willful ineffectiveness. It's important to accept reality because changing reality actually requires first accepting reality. It's important because pain cannot always be avoided, and because refusing to accept reality can keep you stuck in unhappiness or bitterness, anger, sadness. It can even leave you stuck in the obstacle itself. So, what are we supposed to radically accept? We accept the facts of reality as they are, even if we don't like them. We accept that everything has a cause. Infinite moments led up to this exact moment in which we're existing. And we accept that life can be worth living, even if painful events are in it. As we go about the acceptance, we remember that acceptance is not necessarily approval, it's not passive, and it's certainly not against change. So back to the beginning. What does this acceptance stuff have to do with overcoming an obstacle? To illustrate what radical acceptance may look like in this context, I'll walk through an example. Say my obstacle is that I'm on a mountain, a summiting expedition. I'm an hour in and I'm simply certain that I cannot climb any further. I'm having the thought, I shouldn't have even tried this, I knew I wouldn't be able to do it, or I trained so much for this, I'm only 1 hour in and this was supposed to be the easiest part of the whole thing. Step one in radical acceptance is to observe that I'm fighting reality, which is what I'm doing when I have the statement or the thought in my head, it should not be this way. Step two is to remind myself that the unpleasant reality is as it is, and it cannot be changed. I am 1 hour into my climb, and it does feel very difficult. Step three is to remind myself that there are causes for this reality. Perhaps my body is exhausted from other life events and I didn't have time to properly train. Perhaps I overtrained. Perhaps this is my body communicating to me that this is really hard. Maybe the environmental conditions in the mountains in the weeks leading up to my climb made the conditions more tactical and tricky than I had expected. I can't say for certain that I know the cause. However, I do know that there is a cause. Step four is to accept this moment with all of my mind, my body, and my spirit. I may involve some positive self-talk, reminding myself that I'm strong. I could practice mindful breathing or prayer. Then I imagine myself climbing the mountain as if I had already radically accepted that I am on the mountain and that climbing it is very hard. How would this look for me? One steady step at a time, appropriately spaced breaks, effective communication with my climbing partners, fueling my body with food and water as I go, continued positive self-talk. Then I throw myself into this action, actually acting on what I had just envisioned. I radically accept the challenge so as to begin remaking my way up the mountain. As I go through this process, I'll pay attention to my bodily sensations that arise within me. I'll allow disappointment if it enters my mind. And I'll continue to accept my reality as it is in each moment until I reach the top of the mountain. And if it happens that I do not make it to the top, I'll radically accept that too. This model can be applied to physical obstacles, such as this mountaineering example, or running a marathon, and it can be applied to interpersonal obstacles, or to emotional obstacles. What does it look like to radically accept that we're experiencing a painful, challenging emotion? Thanks for listening about radical acceptance, complete and total openness to the facts of reality as they are.